Legend of Total War here, and today we've got a saving and disaster battle playing as the Knights of Caledor, where Imric is commanding a Dragon Prince army, going up against the Scourge of Aquitaine, where they are also commanding a cavalry spam armies. We're outnumbered by a fair bit, and it's just wall-to-wall cavalry here. There are no units that are not cavalry, apart from the generals. I believe that the enemy generals are on foot. All of our characters are on horseback. Now, in terms of a cavalry versus cavalry engagement, typically speaking, you're going to want anti-large, which we don't have here. Dragon Princes have decent stats for sure, but they don't have much armor piercing, and they don't have any bonus versus large. Now, Blood Knights have bonus versus large, which gives them a stat advantage against Dragon Princes, especially considering there's more of them. They've also got Knights of the Realm and Pegasus Knights, all of which have a bonus versus large. So we've got a type disadvantage here. However, I believe we do have an edge. I'm going to jump into the battle, read out this email, and explain the situation. So this guy says, "Hello Legend, I'm playing as Knights of Caledor, and I'm using Dragon Princes with Imric. I declared war on a rebel faction without knowing what army they have. Turns out they have an all-cavalry army that has a lot of anti-large, which is the problem, and also the map is very bad for this army. I believe the only advantage my army has is speed and the single entities. I tried this battle several times, but I'm pretty new to cavalry armies, and this battle is too fast for me to handle. Appreciate if you could give it a go. Thanks a lot." Okay, so yes, this map here is bad for cavalry. Loads of obstructions in the way. It's also very small. If I can stretch my army from one side to the other, and I have a smaller army, you better believe they can do that as well. Our ability to flank them is pretty minimal at best. Now, I do believe that we could micro this and still win, but the army will be bloody destroyed no matter what we do. There is another approach, and that's basically to tell the game, no, I don't want to play into the weaknesses that are presented just to us here. The weaknesses of this map, I'm going to turn into a strength. The weaknesses of my cavalry, I'm going to turn into a strength. And the strengths of my enemy, I'm going to turn into a weakness. And the way I'm going to do that is by denying cavalry engagements. Just not going to allow this to be a cavalry-based battle, basically. I'm still going to use them, but it's not going to be a cavalry battle, basically. Not going to use them as if they're cavalry. And we're going to focus on fire instead, rather than by micro, which means that you could very easily copy what I do. Now, this is a very unique situation. It's very unusual. So this isn't a situation that I've ever done prior, but I saw that the situation here was possible to do this. And that's the thing with this game. It doesn't have particularly robust cavalry engagement. There's ways for it to just sort of be kind of impotent, but it has other mechanics that can sometimes just completely override it, and so it's just a numbers game here, essentially. So if we have a look at Imric, we have Ashen Fields, which immediately gives a weakness to fire to every enemy unit on the battlefield by 20%. That's essentially our bonus versus large, but wait, there's more. The Fire Mage Michaela here has Kindle Flame, so if she casts a spell every 15 seconds, they will have 40% weakness to fire. That's pretty good. That's a lot of bonus versus large. But wait, there's more. These ones here both have Entangle, which provide an additional weakness to fire plus 20%. So getting them to 60%. But wait, there's more. So if you use Star Lance, it provides Flammable, and it causes weakness to fire damage plus 20%. So 80% potential fire weakness. Now, we're not going to be able to apply all of that to every unit simultaneously, constantly throughout the battle. But we may at one point have one unit have 80% weakness to fire, possibly. In addition to that, we have a lot of buffs and debuffs in an area of effect. We've got Stand Your Ground, melee defense and leadership. We've got Dragonhorn, which this applies to the entire map, melee attack plus 24. We've got Divine Dragon Scales, minus 24 melee defense and stops them from moving. And we've got the Helm of Discord, which provides a debuff of melee defense and melee attack of 24. On top of that, some of these spells, we've got Flaming Sword of Ruin, which is area of effect, and that'll boost our base weapon damage by 30%, but also provide flaming attacks. So the thing is, these guys here have mostly base weapon damage, so the Flaming Sword of Ruin is actually better for them, the fact that they don't have that much armor piercing. Now, that being said, it would still just be better if it had more armor piercing, because we're going up against fairly armored opponents, but this is just what we've got. Now, on top of that, we've got the Banner of Eternal Flames. Now, this one here's got a 35-meter radius, so it doesn't naturally affect every unit on the battlefield, unless you do this. unless you put them all into like a crammed area and have this unit just parked in them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the disadvantage of this terrain into our advantage by turning our dragon princes into infantry. So what we're going to do, if the enemy reinforcements are coming in from behind us, that doesn't matter. I'm going to take a position over here and hold like a square here. This is completely obstructed terrain here. They can come at us from two sides, and we will just stack buffs after buffs after buffs. And the thing is, they're going to be charging uphill and around a corner. Their charges are going to be impotent as fuck. It's just not going to work. So we've taken away their cavalry ability because we've taken away ours, and then we're going to stat buff the fuck out of them. That's how I'm going to do this. Now, this shouldn't work, but because there's just so much for us to actually do with stat buffing here, I think it probably will work quite well. But we got to get into position. So what we want to do is start moving around here and get into a bit of a square. We want to make sure that we can't actually get properly flanked.
Dragon princes.
That's it.
Assyrian guides us.
Like this.
Apace. We advance. Loyal. We away.
And then the most damaged two, you can stay in the rear
It will be done.
and come in later. You two can go and annoy them to begin with, and you two just wait here. Imrik should be fighting the entire battle. It doesn't matter how much damage he takes. He's very tanky. And we want to make sure that he's imbuing the stat buffs. Now, all of these enemy lords are rank 1. So I don't think they're going to be able to do anything about this. Yep, that's it. Just get their attention, bring them over. In fact, the longer they take to get over here, the better, because that just gives us more opportunity to generate more winds of magic, because if they get into a blob, we can overcast Piercing Bolts of Burning, which will absolutely wreck them as well. Now, the Pegasus Knights, they are really bad at blobs. Dealing with blobs. They are so bad at it. If they land on top of this, they are going to get fucked so hard. Their bonus versus large won't mean anything. So if we have a look here, yeah, they got weakness to fire. And if we have a look, we don't currently have the fire attack, but as soon as these get over here, they'll have it. Okay, Imrik, the first thing I want you to do is kill this lord when he comes in.
I will go.
Now, they're the attacker in this situation. They have no choice but to deal with us. Now, I understand as well that this is bullshit what I'm doing. This is total fucking unfair bullshit. But this shit works. Alright, so they've landed, and let's buff and debuff. And these guys here should end up doing fucking nothing. I'm not even going to bother adding in another flame debuff because they're just not doing anything. What's this? Wind of Death? These are level 1 lords. Who the fuck did that? Oh my god, this guy's got Wind of Death. It only did 5,000 damage. Should be fine. Are they summoning skeletons? Okay. Alright, it's time to start doing this stuff here, and you'll notice everyone's got flaming attacks now. So we have a 20% damage buff against them. Alright, Imrik needs to fight this guy. And you'll notice their charges are fucking wet noodles. Look at that, 77 damage on a frontal charge like that. And anyone else that charges into here is just going to get hit by, just going to hit their own units. Not going to do any damage, but they're not going to be able to inflict damage on us. Not yet, wait for them to commit a little bit more. Alright, that looks like a really nice blob of cavalry. So let's see if their Wind of Death is better than our overcasted Piercing Bolts of Burning, which is also implying Kindle Flame. Yeah, ours is better. Because... what are you doing over there, Imrik? Because Piercing Bolts of Burning is anti-large. The Wind of Death is anti-infantry. Also, we've got spell resistance.
phoenix sun. The dragon's roar.
Good, there guys are going down.
Ulfwan mage.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that, but I think I'll do this instead. Like I said, I took a disadvantage and I made it my advantage. Look at this. They can't do anything. There is no avenue for them to get victory now.
Caledor's chosen.
Come on.
Yes.
Lots of damage. This one is taking a bit too much. Let's move it back. It's at the front.
Moving out.
Alright, I want to reset that. Thank you very much.
Volcano.
Ulfwan mage. Scython, hear me.
As you said, Asturian guides
One's taking too much damage. Pull it out.
Prince Imric. The Knight of Caledor.
Guardian of Avalor! Advancing! Forward!
That's it. Shall we go again? I think so. Why not? Why not?
Of magic ride.
And the thing about this is that you don't need much micro to do this, so if you do struggle with cavalry-based armies, no problem. Alright, this one's taking a bit too much damage, let's move it back.
The Dragon Tamer.
Alright, Imric, take out this lord here now. This guy... That's the guy that casts Wind of Death, despite him being rank 1. See, we're not taking much damage.
Princess.
Loyal Guardian!
Men Louis. Araya, Men Louis.
Don't need to countercharge, we just stay exactly where we are. Our guys are dishing out good amount of damage. There's no reason to change anything here.
Prince Imric.
Legend, you're not getting the charge bonus. Yes, we're compensating it with everything else.
Spellcaster.
If we charge in on them, it'll wreck our formation.
Behold the majestic.
So this Grail Knight here, that actually did do a fair bit of damage, but that's a fucking Grail Knight. That should have done that much damage to us. They fought to the death. These Black Knights, nothing. Those Blood Knights there, nothing. Blood Knights, nothing.
Ulfwan mage.
Fury of the Forge God.
They're using some buffs and debuffs as well.
Dragon Prince. The Dragon's Roar.
Handmaiden! Guardian of Avalor!
Ulfwan mage.
Alright. Now, casting the spell constantly, it burns out through our Winds of Magic pretty damn quickly, but it just does so much damage to them.
A glorious challenge.
Okay, another Lord just about gone. That's 2 out of 3.
Eradicate them.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that until I got a bit closer, but that's okay. He's moving quick. Good, good, good.
The glory of Imric.
Let's move these up over here.
Maiden Guard!
Orders.
Alright, we've got some units that aren't
Princess.
particularly damaged, so let's move some of these ones back a little bit. Move them. Just keep them where they are. Oh, yep, they're killing him. That's good.
Prince Imric.
That's it. Debuff them. Pop that down. And if we have a look here, this guy should be pretty heavily flame debuffed. 60%. Right, if I pop this down...
Orders.
No, I'm not going to do that. I want to save up for more for Piercing Bolts of Burning.
Prince Imric.
But we could have gotten him to 80%.
Yes.
And everybody's got flaming attacks. Oh, except for this one here.
Dragon Princes.
Not close enough to this one. Move that more in central position.
Asturian guides us.
Yeah, they moved out a little bit more though. Maybe I should have put them all on guard mode.
Behold the majestic.
Using them as infantry. Move up a little bit here. This one's not taking enough damage.
Master of battle. They die.
And we inflicted the army losses. Now, I pose this question to you. on very hard battle difficulty, do you think it would have even been possible for me to have achieved this much carnage with so little damage to our army by microing the fuck out of this? No. I could have fought this battle 100 times. Played it on slow motion if it was bloody possible. I would have never achieved a heroic victory. We basically broke the cavalry engagements in this and made it completely irrelevant. Now, that's not really a thing to praise about this game, to do that, but I did it to the absolute extreme. You know, we had so many abilities that caused flame debuffs, and we had the ability to imbue so much flame, and we had the ability to bombard them so much that that situation had everything to our advantage, and the only thing that they had their advantage in that situation was the ability to use Wind of Death, which they only used it once, and it didn't do that much to us. If they had overcasted it constantly, they actually could have beaten us. But the AI is not smart like that. And look at our guys. They all did really well. They all got lots of kills. The enemy didn't get much, despite not using them as cavalry. Because they were just dishing out so much damage with each hit because of the enemies being debuffed by so much. And there we go. It just goes to show you sometimes that you can really get these ridiculous engagements in this game, and you wouldn't normally think of it, but if you've got a massive disadvantage, try to look for where you have an advantage, or even just turn it against yourself. You know, like a bad map like that. And just because these guys are cavalry doesn't mean that you have to use them as cavalry. Of course, this is a very extreme example of that.
They must bow to Imri.
And their forces were absolutely obliterated. And the great thing about what we did there is that anybody could have done what I did. This was a no-skill battle. You just had to know how to do it. This was knowledge over skill. You know, I could have friggin' StarCraft level micro level and not have achieved those kind of results if I was like actually properly trying to micro that as intended. But you know, by bombing them, and these ones here getting like 30,000 damage with a bombardment, well, not quite that much, but getting that much damage, like 20,000 damage with a bombardment. That's more damage than these cavalry here could have potentially done on their own, and more than she would have done if those enemy units had been spread out. So there's lots of things that you can do in this game to overcome sort of the lack of robust nature of the melee engagements of this game, and it's just a matter of whether or not you're willing to do that. I know a lot of people will look at that battle and be like, I'd rather lose than do it that way, and that's fine. By all means, lose. But the guy, don't forget, the guy didn't send this battle in and said, Legend, I want you to fight this honorably, and if you lose it, that's fine. Just don't play it dishonorably. Nobody ever sends it in to do that. They want to know how to do it. 99% of the time, that situation just isn't going to occur, but on the rare occasion it does occur, you can get fantastic results out of it. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learnt something. Just remember that you don't need to play into your own weaknesses. You don't need to fall on your own sword. Sometimes you will have your other abilities to compensate your weaknesses. You know, better to hone in on what strengths that you do have rather than to double down on your weaknesses. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys. Bye.